Hi, subscribers. Thank you for joining us here on Mind and Body Pilates, a wellness approach. Today we have a class planned for hip and knee support. Let's begin standing with our feet separated hip width distance. Hands on our hips, spine is tall. Keep the knees and the ankles tracking forward. We're going to begin to lift and lower the right hip. As the leg lifts out, the knee and the ankle stay forward. And as the leg travels down, you're going to stop the leg right under the hip again. We're doing those lateral leg lifts meant to engage your abductor, that abductor muscle that helps support the knee and the hip. You're also using your core to keep the spine tall and vertical. Let's do 2 more. We'll keep the foot lifted on this next one. I like a flexed foot here, so I'm going to have you curl the toes towards your nose and begin to circle the leg from the hip. Draw circles from the hip about a size or a grapefruit size. We'll circle for 3, for 2, and 1. Reverse it. We'll circle here for 3, 2, 1. Lower the leg down to that hip width space. We're going to pick the leg back up. I want you to keep the leg lengthened and point the toes this time. Notice the difference. Keep energy from hip to toe and begin to circle the leg from the hip. Same size circles for 3, for 2, and 1. Reverse that circle. For 3, for 2, and 1. Go ahead and lower the foot down. Now we'll step our feet wide. Think about turning out from the hips. Arms are going to extend out to a T, or they can lift and extend over the head if you want a progressive challenge. Let's begin to squat the hips back. Sit back over the hips and the heels, and then extend from those hips. Lengthen both legs up. We're going to lower the hips down and let the hips kind of hinge our torso forward as they drop back. And then you'll squeeze the glutes. Think about extending both the legs from those hips as the legs lengthen. Let's do 3 more. Keep the weight out of the balls of your feet. Think about constantly imprinting those heels down into the mat. Last one. Good. We'll stand back up. We'll go back to that hip width distance parallel stance. Hands to the hips. We'll begin to lift and lower that left leg this time, keeping the knee and the ankle tracking forward. My foot is neutral, so somewhere between pointed and flexed here. And as my hips or my single leg lifts, my hips aren't rising or dropping. They're staying on that still plane. We've got 3 more. In 2. Keep the leg lifted. Let's flex that foot. Peel the toes back towards the nose. Belly to spine here. Draw those little circles from that hip socket. We'll reverse that circle here. We've got 3, and 2, and 1. Lower the foot down to reset. Now you're going to elevate that leg back out. Point the toes, stretch the ankle. Now draw those same size circles, keeping the rest of the body still. For 3, and 2. Reverse it. Last 3, 2, and 1. Lower the foot down. Beautiful work. Let's go ahead and lay on our back here. We're going to go into our articulated bridge. So knees are going to bend up. The heels are going to go flat on the mat with the toes. We'll scoop the navel in and push the low back into the mat. Think tuck, peel, squeeze the back of the hips up. You're going to rise up to the base of your shoulders, sending the arms flat into that mat constantly, pushing into the earth. You'll slowly melt back down. Let the sternum, mid-back, low back, tailbone sink heavy into the mat. With that exhale, you'll peel each piece of bone away from the floor at a time, stretching the thighs over the toes, and then engaging that posterior chain. Now slowly melt back down. We've got 3 more. Keeping that belly button pulled in towards the back, and then using that strong exhale to send the spine into flexion, that curl, and then back into that neutral position. Last one. Go ahead and keep the pelvis lifted. Arms stay flat against the mat. We're going to go for a march. Hips stay still. The right leg is going to lift to tabletop, and then you'll lower it down. Left leg lifts to tabletop. Lower it down. So a little bit more shoulder work is going to help support the hips in that elevated space. Good. Avoid tensing up through the neck. Let the shoulders sink down. Last one. Lower the foot down so that both feet are on the floor, and then we'll articulate all the way back down. Let's come onto all fours, hands and knees, 4-point kneel position. Right leg is going to extend back here. Make sure the wrists stay directly under those shoulders. We'll begin to rainbow that right hip. So you're going to raise the right leg up. Keep the pelvis and the shoulders still. Now you're going to lower, tap the right leg down so it's behind the left hip. Now draw that rainbow up and over. You'll lower that right leg down so it's outside the right hip. Objective is keeping that pelvis still, the spine still, as that leg rainbows from the left side of your mat to the right side of your mat. We've got 2 more. Keep the leg lifted on this next one. Go ahead and turn that hip out. So the hip and the knee are going to open to the right. Flex the foot back. Begin to donkey kick that right knee in towards the elbow, and then lengthen the leg back out. Then the right knee in towards that elbow, and then lengthen and stretch the right leg back out again. We've got 2 more. Last one. Lower the knee down. Sit back onto the heels, child's pose. Let's transition to the other side. So 4-point kneel position, resetting the shoulders and the wrists in a vertical alignment. We'll extend the left leg back. Now keeping the pelvis and the spine quiet as we did on the other side, you're going to lower that left leg down towards the right side of your mat, reaching it across the body to tap the floor, and then rainbowing it up and around to the left side of your mat. Maybe your toes tap the mat, maybe they don't, but remember the objective is keeping everything else still. We've got 2 more. Last one, keep that left leg lifted. We'll flex the foot. Now let the hip open to the left. You're going to bend the knee in towards that left elbow and extend the leg back, kicking through that heel with control. Bend the knee in, and then extend it back. We've got 2 more. Bend the knee in, extend it back. Last one. Go ahead and lower the leg down. Sit back onto the heels with your hips. You can let those hips shift from right to left if that feels good for you. Thank you for joining us here on Mind and Body Pilates, a wellness approach. Hope to see you again soon.